Hey, welcome to another edition of Vegas Bad Boys of Podcasting. It is I, DJ Impact, and we got here Sin City Steve, Matt Michaels, but there's no Simon Street. Hmm. All right. Well, I think he's going to show up in the other two segments we're going to record after wrestling talk. So make sure you hang out with us tonight. As you know, a lot has been going on this past week and even starting this week in pro wrestling. We're not oblivious to what happened if you don't hear a lot of talks and discussion in terms of Terry Funk and Bray Wyatt. We will have a special podcast day that we were released at, but you lucky folks who are watching us right now, we are going to record that podcast later tonight. So please feel free as we record all our shows tonight to jump back on. And if you have any thoughts, to also add that into the comment. Also, All In was tonight. We want to go ahead and talk about that. You may hear some of that into the wrestling talk comments tonight, but we're really going to discuss it in the next segment that we have, or I should say the next live show that we're going to have. So instead of our 3 count, it's going to be all about All In. All right. So make sure you just you hang out with us on all 3 shows tonight. And yeah, we should have a lot of fun. If you're watching us live, make sure you throw all your comments in the comment box, Twitch, Facebook Live, and YouTube. That's where you will see your post. All right. So with that, let's get started with our 4-way stop. All right, Sin City Steve, man, what highlights did you have for this past week?
Well, I'll tell you, you hit the nail right on the head. You know, most of my wrestling talk points revolving around AEW are going to be focused on Dynamite and Collision. Obviously, I don't want to spoil anything for anybody that hasn't quite seen the full show. So with that being said, this week on AEW programming, it was laser focused on the build to All In. We even got a couple of new matches that were announced for the show. Jack Perry came out and gave a eulogy for the FTW titles. He was going to retire it on Dynamite. Yeah. This was interrupted by the returning Hook, and excuse me, it was on Collision, who put him through a table, challenged him to a match at Wembley to occur on the pre-show. I really, really think, especially after this segment, Jack Perry needs to join the Don Callis family. He needs a mouthpiece. He's not where he needs to be as a heel on the mic.
He needs to shut his mouthpiece. Apparently.
Exactly. And that was actually what I was about ready to get into also. The ensuing match with Hook, long story short, the two were brawling on the top of a car, and Jack Perry slaps the windshield, looking right into the camera, saying, "You see that? Real glass. Go cry me a river," alluding to CM Punk calling Perry out for wanting to use real glass in an angle. And something happened backstage after the pre-show, but before they went live on the main show, and Perry was promptly removed from the stadium. So, yeah.
I mean, could there possibly have been some sort of camera back there that we could have seen that action? Now, that's what I want to watch. That's
strange. We'll see what happened. I know that in the media scrum after All In, Tony Khan said that he wouldn't comment any further because they're going to be investigating it. But yeah, I mean, literally brawl out and brawl in. Okay, awesome, great.
Wow.
Anyway. Elsewhere, we also found out the final lineup for the Stadium Stampede match, which Jon Moxley ended up wrestling and put Rey Fenix to sleep on Dynamite. The BCC then injured Rey Fenix, who, as a shoot, was unable to make travel to Wembley. So he was removed from the match. This was something that was known about for quite a long time in advance. So this was something that was in the plans to begin with. On Collision, Orange Cassidy teamed with Penta and Eddie Kingston to face Butcher Blade and Kip Sabian. Come on, you guys know who won, and it wasn't the second team I mentioned. After that, we found out that it would actually be the returning Mike Santana and Ortiz, who is still evidently without a first name. These two matches were all right. They served the purpose to fill a gap in storyline and build to the big show, which was All In.
Yeah.
So,
wow. All right, Matt Michaels, what you got, man?
I'm glad I deleted those. So anyway, and Mike, Mike Santana.
Mike. hey, I don't know. Okay.
Yeah.
It's not exactly a fearsome name. No offense to any Mikes watching, but
oh god, that's so fun.
Yeah.
Boy, this week we got to see a lot on NXT for their Heat Wave special, or I don't even know what to call those. Their themed events, I guess. Dragunov versus Trick was a beautiful way to open a show.
Mhm.
Again, we kind of have a little special here talking about workers come Labor Day, and Dragunov's name comes up. And he proved it again. He made Trick look like $1,000,000 fucking bucks, which is exactly what they need to do, because it looks like Trick and Mello will eventually be wrestling for the title. It looks like they're kind of setting that up a little bit, very, very trickily and slowly. Then Dar versus Frazier for the cup. It's been Dar saying that it's his cup the whole time. It's not a fake one, etc., etc. They finally had the match that went 6 rounds. It was a very solid match, and I'm not a big fan of Dar. I just don't find that they've developed him enough character-wise yet. So we'll see. He apparently does not have to defend the cup for another, I think they said 6 weeks. So yeah, maybe there'll be some character development during that time.
Yeah.
We got Dom and Mommy. What a tag team. Versus Lyra and Dragon Lee. And on Raw, we saw the returning Raquel Gonzalez, who actually came down in NXT and interfered in that match, to give Dom a distraction then and get pinned for the loss in that match. Von versus Baron was them beating the shit out of each other for a couple minutes outside the ring, and then Braun Breaker came out of nowhere and nailed Von with a spear when he was about to put Baron through a table. That was pretty nice. You had Sammy KO and Cody versus Judgment Day on Raw. And Wesley versus Carmelo was fantastic for those two guys. Man, it just shows what you're going to see in the future in the WWE with guys who are that size and are going to be championship guys.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely agree with that, man. I'm looking forward to that time when it's time to move on up. All right, let's get right into the Too Sweet for the week. All right, back to you, Sin City. What do you got, man?
All right, Too Sweet of the week. Renee Paquette had separate sit-down interviews with MJF and Adam Cole on Dynamite, and these guys continue to be just awesome in nearly every segment that they're involved in. They keep your attention, and whether they're together or separate, MJF sit-down felt more subdued, confident, as he continues to slide into babyfacedom. Whereas Adam Cole, on the other hand, almost felt nervous and jittery. He was on edge, and that was definitely on display as he was loud and boisterous throughout his interview. Promo work that these guys have done have just been off the charts. So good. Elsewhere, the contract signing and subsequent promo battle involving Don Callis, Will Ospreay, and Chris Jericho on Dynamite was great. Admittedly, I was a bit disappointed when I heard these guys were going to be paired off together for All In, but this segment and everyone involved was straight fire. It gave American audiences a taste of Ospreay on the mic and adds a layer to his personality. Callis is just amazing on the mic and can generate just so much heat. It's unbelievable. The guy is so underrated in what he can do. So whatever storyline he's involved in is almost always must see. So too sweet to those guys. And then lastly, there was an 8-man tag match on Collision. Normally, I dread 8-man or 10-man multi-man tag matches. They tend to be clunky, just not good TV. Yeah. This one was that to some extent, but it did a great job in showcasing everyone who is going to be featured on All In. So they built the people that were going to be on the show, gave them a little bit more of a shine, which is what they needed to do. And you know, it segued perfectly into the biggest pay-per-view in the history of All Elite Wrestling.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Matt Michaels.
It's, you know, a shame that over the years the WWE has had to have these tribute shows, you know, where someone passes away and they, you know, are running that week. I think that they've become by far some of the most memorable shows. Mostly because for all the character that you see for, you know, week after week, it's a time where you get a chance to actually see the human emotion along with, you know, these performers that goes with them. So SmackDown in itself was just something else to see. A day. Like they put that shit together in a day, and that's remarkable. You got still not only a great tribute to Bray Wyatt from LA Knight, but then you get an LA Knight Finn Balor match, which, you know, you can't ask for much more when you're hooting and hollering about LA Knight not getting opportunities, etc. Yeah. You know, Cody Rhodes, great promo on Terry Funk, and some, you know, some decent wrestling. Waller looked great against Mysterio.
Yeah,
and you can't put it past the rocking chair alone in the spotlight and the lantern by itself at the end of the show. So they did. You know, they did a hell of a job.
Yeah, they did. You know, not exactly knowing what to expect from that show, and they did a good job, man, and all over. So, yeah.
And I love everyone's just chiming in with the yeah.
No doubt, no doubt. All right, let's see if we have any. I'm sure there's not too many WTFs. What? Sin City Steel look like you're shaking. Like, yeah, there are some things. All right, well, let's get right to it. All right, Sin City, man, what WTFs you got for the week?
You know how they did that angle a few weeks back where AR Fox turned heel on Darby Allin and then proceeded to show up at Nick Wayne's house with Swerve Strickland. They left Wayne lying in a pool of his own blood. You know, fast forward a couple of weeks and we have Swerve Strickland and AR Fox versus Darby Allin and Nick Wayne on Dynamite. After Darby and Nick win the match, Swerve fires AR Fox from the Mogul Embassy. Brian Cage comes out, leaves him lying. And Swerve just so happened to have a contingency plan in the event that they lost the match. That contingency plan just so happened to be Christian Cage. That ended up working out, but what the fuck is this shotgun booking? I'll tell you exactly what it is. There are ways to do this and ways to not do this. If reports are accurate, and again, what the fuck do I know? I'm just a mark with a microphone. But the fact is, Ray Phoenix made things known that he would not be able to make the trip to Wembley. AR Fox did not. So it was a late notice that, hey, I can't make travel to Wembley. So you're basically going to just need to undo all of the booking that you've done the last few weeks. Yeah, great. Thanks. What the fuck? Literally. And, you know, I'm okay with a squash match, maybe 2 on a 2-hour show. Collision this week, we had 3. We had 3 in a row. 3 in a row. Big Bill, Willow Nightingale, and Keith Lee were all featured, which I'm good with them being featured on the show. Okay. Yeah. But do we have to have 3 squash matches, one after another? This episode of Collision really lagged in the middle, something that they've done a really good job of avoiding so far. But yeah, I get it that it was a taped episode because obviously this episode originated from Georgia. They had to shoot it before everybody flew into London. I get it, but still, damn. And then just to echo the first prompt, Jack Perry, why in the absolute hell would you want or have to use real glass when fake glass looks just as good and can be very easily gimmicked so that you don't, I don't know, slice the fuck out of yourself and die?
Right.
What the fuck?
I think Jack got something to prove, man. Let him prove it, even if it comes.
I can't believe that I just agreed with CM Punk too. What's wrong with me?
That is true, man. Things aren't looking right when you're doing that. All right, Matt Michaels, what do you got? Come on, man. Any WTS from you?
Well, first, I will never agree with CM Punk, so I think Jack was right. He should have gone through the glass. You're absolutely. AR Fox is the dumbest motherfucker on the planet. Period. You've just been put in a show that has you in front of the most people that you've probably been in front of if you added up all the people you've been in front of your whole career and put them in one place. Okay. So so the only question is it a felony? Did he have some kind of legal issue where he couldn't go? And was he holding that back because, what are you going to say to a company that all of a sudden brings you in and now pushes you?
Yeah.
And now I can't go overseas. Something's wrong.
Put you in that type of a match too.
Yeah. Yeah. So something doesn't add up. I think that there's more to the story that we don't know. But apparently, Tony Khan won't talk about it because he's got to have investigations on everything in his show now, apparently.
Hey, man, 'tis the season.
Oh, man.
Back to school, back to investigation.
Yeah. Well, the only question is, they're in London, so is it Sherlock and Watson doing the investigation? To call Scotland Yard?
221B Baker Street, baby.
Oh my God. In watching Raw, one of the things that I've noticed that she's a Hall of Famer, and Trish Stratus will always be someone that is, respected and put on some great matches and had some memorable moments. But the one thing that Trish has never been great at is cutting a promo that's longer than she's good at doing interacting segments, where it's just kind of back and forth dialogue. But when she's given a mic and she goes on, it was brutal. It was like, Trish, you just keep saying kind of the same thing. And it's just droning boring. And it's amazing that you could have that career, that much talent, and yet it shows how hard it is to actually cut live promos and maintain the focus, hit the point, do it quickly, because that was all over the place. And props, Becky Lynch, of course, was in that segment, but props to Becky Lynch and Tiffany Stratton for Stratton calling Becky Lynch an ex NXT champion, and then them picking up on that on Twitter for the purpose of putting it out there quickly through Becky, through her Twitter, that she was never an NXT champion, and Tiffany addressing it in a backstage segment right away. It just is the beautiful blur between, is it a shoot or is it a work?
Mhm.
And, are we going to see Becky Lynch potentially wrestle Tiffany Stratton? If we do, that says a lot about what they think about Stratton.
Right. Yeah. I want to see it. Sign me up. Let's go. I'm with it. All right.
You just saw the Queen Bee, man. You don't need any more. You got all the woman in your life right there.
I mean, one hell of a show, I tell you that. And night 2 is going on like right now. So what can you do?
You got to get to Ubering then, right? So we better hurry up.
Oh, Jesus. All right, here's the lookout. All right. Sin City Steve, what are you looking out for?
Well, I will tell you, DJ Impact. I'm so glad that you asked. I am looking forward and looking out for All Out. They've already announced a few matches, and they made use of the All-In Media Scrum to make more match announcements. So they've already announced Miro versus Powerhouse Hobbs. At the Scrum, they did announce Konosuke Takeshita versus Kenny Omega. We already knew Darby Allin versus Luchasaurus for the TNT title, Ruby Soho versus Statlander for the TBS title, and they did make mention that this Wednesday on Dynamite, it's going to be Penta versus Jon Moxley, and the winner of that match will go on to face Orange Cassidy for the international title at All Out. No spoilers whatsoever, but All In was a great show. I'm hoping that they can reach near the success that they did 1 week from now. And then also, they did announce that AEW would be expanding its pay-per-view calendar and adding AEW Wrestle Dream. It's going to be taking place October 1st. I know. October 1st at the Climate Pledge Arena. Tony Khan did mention that he was doing it in part to commemorate the memory of Antonio Inoki. So New Japan talent will be prominently featured on the show. Obviously, if you haven't picked it up by now, I'm all for collaboration in the business. I think this has the potential to be a good show. I'm interested to see what the angle is going to be for the show, if it's going to be New Japan versus AEW, or what they're going to do with that. But yeah, just enjoying the wrestling that's going on right now. We've got a lot of it.
Wrestle Dream.
Wrestle Dream.
Let me see. Welcome to Wrestle Dream. Nah, I don't have that. I don't have that ring. I don't know. We'll keep working on it. We may change it before it happens. Give us a.
I appreciate your attempt, though.
All right, Mr. Matt Michaels, what are you looking out for?
The cocaine shipment to Tony's front door this Friday. Jesus Christ. Wrestle Dream? What the fuck, dude?
Yeah, it's like we're still continuing the WTF segment, but I
mean, you couldn't even, like, if it's going to be something with New Japan, you couldn't have even had a fucking samurai's fucking brawl, just thought of something Wrestle Dream. Yeah, that's it. What the fuck? Tony.
Definitely thought of it on the fly.
And on something. Looking out for Becky and Zoe in a Falls Count Anywhere match on Raw this week, leading up to Becky and Trish in the cage at the premium live event next Saturday, so that
Mhm.
should be interesting. Shinsuke versus Seth at that event. I think it's Clash of Champions, isn't it, or whatever the hell, Night of Champions, whatever they call it. Um, that, you know what, Seth and Shinsuke, I think that very well could be one of the better matches of the year
Yeah.
if they tell the story right. So uh, Shinsuke had a wonderful promo to do stuff in Japanese and to put the captions. We've been saying that for years. WWE needs to do that more,
Yeah.
and I think that, finally realizing, hey, we can do that, and our fans. Raw was one of the most interesting Raws because of the fact that you had Japanese and Spanish and German all
Yeah.
being spoken. So it's very interesting to see what they're doing.
Yeah.
And JC Jane giving Thea some advice that people like us, we always bounce back. So we might be seeing Thea start going heel, which would be very interesting.
Hmm. A heel thing. Okay. I can see that. I can see that.
Yeah, no more cheerleader outfit,
All
give
right.
her a little more personality, sure.
Yeah. All right. Let's get into our best in show. So, Sin City, I'm assuming that all of AEW just had to be trying to get to what happened tonight. So it was just all horrible shows. So you're going to give it to Raw or SmackDown for best show of the week, right?
No, I'm not even going to kayfabe it. It's all in.
Oh,
AEW all in. Fuck that. I kept it out of all of the other major prompts.
yeah.
Yeah, but I can't keep it out of this one. It was one of the better wrestling shows I've seen this entire year. And I know that there's a lot of hyperbole that happens when we discuss things that happen in this business, but this was not recency bias. This was not that hyperbole. This
Mhm.
was actual result. They put on a show that was worth the 81,035 that they had paid attendance for the show.
Yeah.
It was a great show all in all. So if you can go check out All In.
No doubt. All right, Matt Michaels, what was your best show for this week?
Well, first, I think Steve just came up with a better name for a pay per view than Wrestle Dream. Just fucking call it Hyperbole. I think that's a great fucking name for AEW Hyperbole.
No, that's the weekly show where they show the video packages.
You're right. Yeah.
Right.
The vignettes and the promos. AEW Hyperbole.
And then it's even more confusing. It's like, I really don't understand anything now. Jesus. SmackDown, again, it because of the fact that it paid tribute to legends, and isn't it sad that Bray Wyatt is now going to be considered a genius, a legend, but during his actual life, he was, questioned for his. It's amazing how that happens. It's
Of
like
course.
it's unbelievable. So
Hindsight's always 2020.
yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, that it makes you it just makes you just appreciate more what kind of dedication they have to not capitalize on the moment but actually give an actual tribute to the moment. So
Right. Well, thank you for summing that up. Folks that are watching, we appreciate you hanging out with us tonight for Wrestling Talk. We have more to get into, especially with next. We're going to talk more about Terry Funk and Bray Wyatt. That's going to be our 3 count. So when we go off of air here, make sure you are following us so you get the notification and you can jump back on. And also, if you're not able to jump on and watch us live, you will get a chance to at least download the 3 count for Tuesday. So there's that. We also later on tonight will be talking more about All In. We definitely got to talk about that, giving everyone enough time to finish watching the show. Lots of things to talk about that show. So we want you to hang out with that. So just make sure you're standing by, and we'll be right back. All right. So until then, thanks for hanging out.
And happy wrestling dreams, everybody.
Wrestle Dream. Oh God.